Hello everyone, how are you? I'm Nancy Yawner coming to you live from the heart of my home, my kitchen. And I would love to reintroduce you to me if you are new to our Love to List family. I am a 36-year realtor here in Northern Virginia. I serve Loudoun County, Fairfax County, and some of the bordering counties around those two. Primarily, the biggest part of my business is Loudoun, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away from Washington, D.C. You might know or have heard of Dulles Airport. Well, that is Loudoun County, and that is the area that I serve. I am under the Keller Williams umbrella. So I want to thank you for popping in today. And oh, hi, Mom. And if you're here at the replay, please let me know and let me know where you're joining me from. I started this live 5 years ago, and it really started because of COVID, and it started out as uncharted waters, trying to be positive during that very challenging time. At some point, I thought, okay, we're not going to continue that mode of operation forever, so I changed it to From the Heart of the Home, where I share a little bit of real estate, a little bit of health and home with you on a consistent basis. And today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 things. Hey, Deb. And the first, I'm going to give a little tribute to a dear friend. And then secondly, I'm going to whip up, hence the word whip up, a little sweet treat that is healthy and has kind of a surprise ingredient. And then I'm going to share with you a recent experience that I had, give you a little assessment of a cleanse that I did. So before I get started, let me just share with you that I want to say a little tribute to a very dear woman named Patricia Kelly O'Neill. Now, I don't know about you, but in life, there's not very many times that we can say you've known someone your entire life other than your family. And I can honestly say that I have known Mrs. O'Neill my entire life, which is 61 years. So we bought a home, my parents bought a home in Rockville, Maryland, in this community called Farmland, and it was in 1964. And they became fast friends with the O'Neills and another family, the Berrymans, also the Clarks. But there was a real connection with the Berrymans, Mr. and Mrs. Berryman, Mr. and Mrs. O'Neill, and Mr. and Mrs. Browse, my parents, because that's my maiden name. And Mrs. O'Neill and my mom and Mrs. Berryman, oh, hey, Sharon, how you doing? Used to come, every time we used to come home from elementary school, they would be sitting there having coffee. And Mrs. O'Neill had 3 boys, Mrs. Berryman had 3 kids, and we had 5. And we were like family. We did all of the outdoor activities like kick the can, flashlight tag, football in the yard, hide and seek. We did the July 4th parades, the fireworks. We walked to the swimming pool. We walked to 7-Eleven. And Mrs. O'Neill was always one of the most women out of the 3 that was very disciplinarian and had a lot of faith and was very committed to her family. Not that my mom and Mrs. Berryman were not, but it was a little bit different flavor. I think my mom let us go out on our own a little bit, but Mrs. O'Neill, she kind of kept the tight rope. They went to church every single morning. Just a lovely, lovely family. Her husband passed away 18 years ago, and then they also lost a son. And so those 3 couples used to call themselves 64-6, and they are still to this day friends. And now out of the 64-6, it's now 2, and Mrs. Berryman and my mother. And so that's a lot of history. It's a lot of memories, a lot of wonderful times, and a woman that I have always looked up to. So we will miss you, Mrs. O'Neill. Okay, thank you. We went to her service, obviously, today. Oh, we went to the church we went to was the church that I grew up in and my sister got married in. And so it just brought back so many memories. We drove by our old house, and there's nothing like being rooted, right, in this wonderful feeling that you have of how you're raised. And I'm just very grateful to have been embraced by these two families as well as my own. So that is that. And so before we get started on this little sweet, healthy treat, excuse me, I'm going to put on an apron because, you know, back to my roots and my mom and Mrs. O'Neill and Mrs. Berryman. So got to put the apron on, right? So anyways, this is a very interesting treat. I've made it once before, and I hope I can pull it off because I don't have a food processor. You really need a food processor. But I got this recipe, not out of this book, but by this woman that I follow. And her name is Marilyn Smith. And if you look online, she is just a riot. She's from Canada. She teaches home ec. Who teaches home ec anymore, right? Anyways, so it's not out of this book, but I got it off of one of her reels on Instagram or something. So, and it is called a pineapple whip. That's why I'm going to whip it up. But you can use any frozen fruit. So there's an interesting ingredient in this, and I am going to half the recipe because one thing about making this is that when you make it, you want to serve it right away. It's not something you freeze, okay? I tried that. It didn't go over very well, let me just tell you. So the recipe calls for 2 cups of frozen fruit, a half a cup of yogurt, and a half a cup of kefir. But I've also seen her do 3 cups of frozen fruit and 1 cup of kefir. Now, that's kind of like the mystery ingredient. Let me tell you about kefir. I made some notes. Kefir is a fermented milk drink rich in probiotics and nutrients. So good, probiotics are really good for your gut. So this can really benefit your microbiome. And it also can add healthy attributes for heart health and bones and your immune system. So it has probiotics. It's rich in nutrients. It has calcium, vitamin K and B, and also, which is very good for the bones. It has, potentially helps with inflation. It does help apparently with lowering, with your blood sugar and your cholesterol levels. So this is kefir, and let me tell you, it lasts in the refrigerator a long time. And I've also seen Marilyn do a couple different desserts with this kefir. So anyways, for today, like I said, I'm having it. I decided to do raspberries because it's my mom's favorite. I've got my mom's apron on. So there you go. And then you do yogurt, half a cup of yogurt. And I have a certain kind I love. I should have brought it out. It's called Planting Field Sisters. It's kind of a weird name. I get it at my health food store, but I've talked about it before, but I can, and then, not a half a cup, I'm sorry, a fourth a cup of yogurt. And let's see, let me just double shake that up. And then a fourth a cup of your kefir. Now kefir is kind of tart, which is what I really love about this dessert because it actually is sweet and tart. So I love that about it. And then you just put it in the blender. Now, I think sometimes, like I said, you really need a food processor, so it's gonna get loud for a minute. Just a second. Oh, it looks so pretty. Huh, it's a little bit smoother than it normally is because it's supposed to be, let me see. Yeah, it's, you know what, because I let the frozen fruit out sitting here before we ate, it's supposed to be like in between. It's not supposed to be this smooth. Let me see. But it is so good. With pineapple, I think is the best. This is a little too smooth. I would put some more ice in this because it's supposed to be like it's like a whip. It's not an ice cream. It's not too smooth, but this is delicious. I wonder if well, anyways, you can look her up and get the recipe yourself. But oh, so tasty and healthy. So that's that. But I think I like the pineapple better because the pineapple's a little sweeter than the raspberries. So the raspberries with the kefir is a little bit probably more tart than people would want. So I would definitely go with the pineapple over the raspberries. But she did say mango would probably be really good with it. So anyways, okay, maybe cherries. But let me tell you about this cleanse. And this cleanse was called, it's Chroma with a K, K-R-O-M-A. And I have some notes here about it as well. Oh, here. So it came in a box like this, okay? And then you open it up, and then it was so beautiful. It was like all these different colored packets that lined up in this box. And then here at the end was this little cookie thing, which I'll tell you about. I told you about last week. But anyways, the gist of it is it's 5 days, and it cost, well, originally online it cost $385, which is a little pricey. But you can get, there's different discounts and coupons that you can get. So I got 15% off. So it's $327 for 5 days. Now, what happens is I wish I would have saved the packets so I could share every packet with you is what I should have done. But you get 9 of these packets. The color goes to the day. So I have these left over, which is kind of part of my assessment, which I will tell you about. But you get these 9 packets. You start out with, I wrote it down because I don't have them all. Shine, which is a matcha latte, and it has all kinds of good things in here. It does have caffeine, it does have collagen in here, but you start out your day with this, and then you go to your breakfast, which is, they call it a porridge, and it's like oats and nuts and things like that. You just add hot water. Same with the matcha. You just add hot water. And then after the breakfast, you can do an elixir. It's a cranberry flavored elixir. And all of these packets are filled with all kinds of delicious tasting ingredients and very rich in nutrients. Some of them high in protein. You're getting about 70 grams of protein just from these packets. But for lunch and dinner, you can add to protein if you like. So then you have a boost, you have a smoothie, which is really good. You have a super greens drink that you can drink throughout the day. You have a latte that you can drink throughout the day. And then your lunch and dinner are these different varieties of broths. So you have chicken broth, bone broth, vegetable broth with miso, vegan broth if you need it or want it. And then I added a little shredded chicken in the broth and some like mushrooms or onion. You can add some vegetable. You could add zucchini and tomatoes. So I did put some tomatoes, cherry tomatoes in one. So you could add some vegetables to your broth, which gives a little bit more substance, and some, lean meat, which is the chicken. So that ups your protein to probably having like 100 grams. But it is, and then your last day or your last packet of the night is snooze, and this has magnesium in it. So I will tell you, I had a hard time getting all 9 packets in a day. Like one day maybe I skipped a smoothie, or one day I skipped the green superfood drink that you have. I pretty much always had the broths, and I had the porridge, I had the matcha tea, But I'm also at the same time getting a lot of my water in. So in terms of how I felt, well, the first day I had a little bit of a headache by the time I went to bed. I don't know if that's because I didn't have any coffee. I haven't had any coffee since I started this, and like on day 8 or something like that. And there's no alcohol on it as well. And, you know, my whole idea was because I had broken my foot, I got a little sedentary. I just wanted to reset. Next week, I'm going to start bringing exercise back into my routine. And I did lose about 4 pounds. They say 4 to 6 on average. But my goal was really just to feel better because I had such a lack of body and motion the last few months. And I just kind of wanted to cleanse my body. You know, when you do a cleanse, your digestive system, you know, isn't working as hard. You give it a rest. And I'll tell you, I feel fantastic. I feel so much better. I feel like I have more clarity, and my mood and my energy is really up. And I don't know, you know, I always thought I was a good clean eater, and but just having that reset kind of just gets you motivated, gives you some momentum, and you know, just always trying to learn and grow in the health arena as well. So the nice thing about this Chroma is that you can buy certain things individually, and I love certain things. Now, I'm a big bone broth drinker. I have Brodo that I drink, but I think I will flip to this once I'm done with my other mainstream that I use. And I really, you know, I use Isagenix protein, so I don't need to do that. But I love the broths, I love the porridge, and I think you guys saw me have this yesterday, or last week, where I had this, you're allowed to have this anytime you want, and you can see I still have quite a bit. It's called OMG Cookie Butter. It's guilt-free goodness, and it says, I dare you to have one little spoonful. And in all actuality, you know what would be really good is if I mix this with a little bit of my raspberry whip. It might be really tasty. But this is really good. Kind of satisfying. And that's what I like about this cleanse, because I've done other cleanse where it's just juice, and this feels more substantial. So that's why I really highly recommend it. I don't get anything for recommending it. I'm just sharing kind of my health journey with you. And, oh, Deborah, thank you. Thank you so much for the compliment. I really appreciate it. So anyways, I wish this would have come out a little bit better, but I know what the problem was, is that I had the raspberry sitting out a little bit so I could get ready to put it in. So you really need to have your fruit frozen. And it just normally is like a different consistency, but it's still good. Anyways, thank you so much for popping in today. Really appreciate it. Again, so grateful to my upbringing and having such dear friends. You know, it's just so important. You know, this connecting and being close to people, you know, especially during this day and age where everyone's on their devices and to have so many distractions. So, you know, we learned a word today of personal presence in the service, and it's just a word that I want to really dig into. So I do appreciate you popping in. I hope you're doing well. Please try to make this, find the recipe online. I'll put it in the comments afterwards, because it really is tasty when you do it right. Trust me. Anyways, you guys have a good rest of the week, and I'll see you next week. And until then, thumbs up, lots of love, and keep smiling. Okay? All right. Take care, everyone.